Hey everybody, real quick before I get started, I want to tell you guys about something new that I'm trying out. I started a new Discord server. It's called One Mic. There is a link to the Discord in the episode description, and there will continue to be a link in the episode description for all subsequent videos. The reason I want to do this is because I wanted to give us all a space to collectively talk about all of the shows that I'm covering so we don't have to talk across each other in the comments or maybe miss some comments or miss some replies. I think it's a good place for us fans who are fans of the shows that I cover, fans of this channel, whatever that may be, for us all to get together and just kind of like talk about the show. So what I did was I created the server and then I created channels within it for each show that I'm covering at that time. Right now it's set up to cover the, I think, 4 or so shows that I'm covering right now, and then I've added channels for shows that I'm going to be covering in the month of December that I know for sure. And then as I'm covering shows will cycle in and out. So like once I'm done covering a show, a channel will be deleted, and then once I start covering a show, a new channel will be added. So check out that Discord. I look forward to talking to you guys, and now let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic, one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. One mic. One mic.
Hey everybody, welcome back to One Mic, where I watch shit so you don't have to. And today I'm here for the second time to talk about the White Lotus. This is the White Lotus Season 2 Theory Crafting Spectacular. I stole that ridiculous title. It's a Simpsons kind of vibe. You know, the Simpsons had the 138th episode Spectacular. I don't remember what the name of it was. That's probably it. But I decided to make some big, long, ridiculous title just to pay homage to one of my favorite shows. So what I want to do here, I want to lay out some of my theories for what I think is going to happen in the finale, just because I feel like we've spent all of this season, rightfully so, focusing on these characters, their relationships with one another, where this is going, what we're learning, what the characters are learning, all this kind of good stuff that we're meant to be taking away from this show. But what's fallen to the back burner is the murder mystery. Hey, all these people died at the beginning, and now who's gonna die? Who killed them? All of that, which I think in particular, spent a lot of time focusing on in season 1, and now in season 2, I've learned that's not really what it's about, and I've taken more toward paying attention to the characters, and that's caused the whole murder mystery thing to kind of like fall to the background. So I figured this will be a good time right before the finale to get in front of you guys and give out some theories that I have for what's going to happen in the finale, who I think is going to die, who I think is going to do the killing, all that good stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start each theory by breaking down where these individuals left off at the end of episode 6. I'm going to go the same way I do with the episodes. I'm going to talk about each theory kind of like by character grouping. So I'm going to talk about the couples, and I'm going to give my theory there. So that's how I'm going to break it down. I'm going to talk about each theory by starting where we left off with them in episode 6, give kind of like my evidence to support my theory, give out a couple of theories. In some cases, I have more than one, and what I do is I just end up choosing one. And then I'll give the theory itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with Mia, Lucia, and Valentina, and then we're going to move forward. And I'm going to try to move through as quickly as I can. I'll wrap up. You guys let me know what you think in the comments, what you think of my theories, what your theories are, all that good stuff. And we will reconvene next Sunday to see what happens. So at the end of episode 6, Mia's just finished finger banging Valentina. And so what do we know here? So we know that Valentina is someone, I'm going to actually do a lot of reading from my notes because I in crafting these theories, I kind of got to like get my thoughts out and to kind of like help me figure out, okay, like what would be this person's motive, all this kind of shit, right? So I wrote a lot of shit that isn't tied to the episode. So I can't go, okay, this happened in the episode and then kind of speak on that, because there is no this happened in the episode. This is all my theory. So I'm going to be doing a little bit more reading than normal, but bear with me. So we know that Valentina is someone who's just discovered her sexuality, and she's also deeply emotional. And sometimes that emotion manifests as anger or curtness with her employees. And in the case of Isabella, it manifested, I think, as a bit of naivete. When Isabella complimented her, she took that good feeling and ran with it. So when she learned that Isabella was not into her in that way, she finds a new outlet for that emotion, which I think is Mia. Valentina lets her guard down and allows Mia in, figuratively and literally. And I wish I came up with these things when I was writing it. That was funny. And I think that since we've established that Mia and Lucia have a habit of telling people after the fact that they owe them money for sex. I have no reason to believe that's not what's going to happen here. So I firmly believe that's what we're going to see. Mia has also been established as someone who is comfortable and enjoys this newly discovered ability to exchange sex for whatever it is that she wants. She looks at sex very transactionally right now. Whereas Valentina, like I said, she's very emotional. So she's probably going to be on some lovey-dovey shit for Mia in the morning after the finger bang. And I'm sure there's more than just fingers that went in there. After in the next morning, after this whole finger bang, Valentina's probably going to be very kind of like emotional, in a good mood. Like, oh my God, that was a great night. That was magical. And Mia's going to be like, so here's my Cash App, $, Euro. I don't know what I'm going, what payment do they accept in Italy? And I've literally been there. But I think it is Euro still. But yeah, like here's my Cash App, Euro, $, Euro, Mia, whatever the fuck. And I actually don't think that she's actually going to ask for money, but I think she's going to ask for something, probably a permanent job at the hotel. And Mia's going to realize, Valentina, is going to realize, like, hey, wait a minute. This wasn't a genuine connection with a woman that I was yearning for in my drunken state after being shot down. Well, not shot down, but after finding out the woman that I had a thing for isn't into me. This is just another purchase, another transaction that these girls are doing, and she's probably going to revert right back to the level of hatred that she had for Mia and Lucia at the very beginning. It's probably going to be even worse because now she's emotionally invested, and she's going to find out, like, oh, this was all just her doing a job. And so my official prediction is that Valentina is going to lose her shit, and she is going to take Mia out. So that is my prediction. Mia is one of the people, one of the dead people at the beginning of the episode. At the beginning of the season, I'm sorry. I don't know why, like, my eyelash keeps getting in my eye. I keep having to do that. So, Lucia, the last time we see her, she's got her head out the window like a dog while she's leaving with Alessio after she's been scooped up when she was supposed to be the translator for the DeGrasso family. So, if you were here last week, you heard me theorize that Alessio was kind of like just this random person that owed Lucia money, but she saw this as an opportunity to scam Albie out of money. Like, oh yeah, that's just my pimp, and he's gonna beat my ass if I don't give him the money that I owe. Woe is me. And I crafted that idea, even though in the moment it felt like Lucia genuinely had feelings for Albie. We also, in the same scene that Mia talked about understanding and enjoying the transactional nature of sex, in that same scene, Mia was saying, like, I don't know if this prostitute life is for me. So it felt like to me in that moment that Lucia was genuine. But then the Alessio thing threw me off because we haven't heard any mention of a pimp before. We haven't heard this guy before. And it just kind of felt like this was maybe something she was coming up with to get money out of Albie. And it's like, she knows that Albie is into her. He's a little naive. He's a little young. And she could use like this sympathy angle to get money out of him. And now all of a sudden this Alessio guy is everywhere. And it just kind of felt like, okay, maybe this guy is part of the plan. So she can now use him like, Alessio's going to fuck me up if I don't get the money from Cameron. Woe is me. And a rando that owes Lucia money is not going to be angrily following her in a car when she's got into a car with 3 other adult males. Like, that's just not something you do if you owe somebody money. So I'm like, maybe he isn't just a rando that owes her money. Maybe he actually is a pimp of hers, and the show just didn't bring that to light, that she had a pimp prior to, just to help with this moment. But I'm not really willing to ignore this idea altogether. The idea that this is some sort of con on Lucia's part. Alessio could be in on it. She's like, help me out, pretend you're my pimp, look super scary and shit, and when this guy gets money on my behalf, I'll split it with you. That could still be the play. But my only problem is, again, like, Lucia does not seem that evil and conniving. And she did genuinely seem to like him. She did genuinely seem like she wanted to get out of the prostitution game. So it's like, I don't know if this is really a long con like that. So because of that, I'm starting to think that the whole Alessio thing is legit, and Lucia's not conning Albie, which I don't know. I'm very conflicted on that. So what do I think is gonna happen? I think, well, one, I think Albie is obsessed with Lucia, and he's gonna be on a mission to save her from that life. So I have a few ideas. I'm gonna present them all, and I'm gonna choose one, and that will be my official quote unquote theory heading into the finale. So, one, Albie decides he's gonna save Lucia. He confronts Alessio and ultimately ends up killing Alessio. Two, Albie decides he's gonna save Lucia. He confronts Cameron for the money that Cameron owes her in order for her to be able to pay Alessio, and ultimately kills Cameron. Three, Albie decides he's gonna save Lucia. He confronts Alessio or Cameron, and one of them kills Albie. So, like, those are a couple of ideas here, but I have not actually reached my official theory. So, the theme for, like, the DeGrasso family, I'm sorry, hold on, let me make sure I got this, okay, has been how the men have treated women. As you can see, I'm clearly kind of bleeding this theory into my, into, like, the DeGrasso section, but we'll get there. So, the theme of the DeGrasso family this season has been how their men treat women. We've heard about what Bert was like. We've seen Dom in action and heard about him as well. And then we see Albie going to great lengths to not be like them. So him putting on this superhero cape for Lucia seems like all but a certainty. So does he go after the guy that Lucia owes money, that owes Lucia money, Cameron? Does he go after the guy that Lucia owes money to, Alessio? I think he goes after Cameron because it's simpler and it's easier. Cameron is accessible to him. Cameron's a regular dude. And the easiest path to get the money from Cameron, the easiest path is to get the money from Cameron to give to Alessio and be like, okay, now she's squared away, she can leave. Now, I don't think that would ever actually happen, but I think Albie is naive enough to believe that it happens. Alessio seems like like fucking with Alessio, like choosing to go after him to save I'm struggling with names today. To save Lucia just seems like really risky, like a really risky idea, just a bad idea in every way. And from me, and I think from Albie's perspective, I think he'll look at that like, that's not a good idea. So I think Albie goes after Cameron. Things get out of hand. But I think Dom intervenes and he kills Cameron because he was on The Sopranos and he's about that life and Albie isn't. Boom. So that's my that's my official theory. And it kind of so I've looped in Lucia with the DeGrasso family. I think that Albie is going to confront Cameron for the money that Cameron owes Lucia. That's gonna get really messy. Dom's gonna see things getting really messy. It'll be a 3-person squabble, and Dom will ultimately take out Cameron. That's my official theory right there. So now that we're talking about Cameron, let's move on to the couples. When we leave the couples, Ethan is of the belief that Cameron and Harper have just had sex with each other, and with good cause, because there's a lot of reason for him to believe that, and there's a lot of reason for us, the viewer, to believe that as well. And, you know, just like with Lucia, I see a couple of options here. Lucia / DeGrasso's, I see a couple of options here. I'm going to present them both. Well, actually, I'm going to present what I have, but with one additional piece, because I think this is going to be at the heart of whatever happens. And that one additional piece is, did Harper and Cameron actually have sex or not? And I think that's going to be pretty important. So, option 1, Cameron and Harper did have sex. Ethan, already with a chip on his shoulder over Cameron's behavior in college, you know, he's always wanted to get at his women, all this kind of shit, combined with how he's been seeing Harper behave, he kills Cameron for that. I don't think Ethan killing Harper is really a possibility unless it's an accident. And to be honest, this is like the super obvious possibility. Like, oh, okay, you fucked my wife, I'm going to kill you. I'm just going to spare you guys the time. I do not believe that that's what's going to happen, but I had to lay it out as a theory because that's what I think the show wants people to arrive at first, is that Ethan and Cameron are going to have beef. Now, Cameron and Harper did have sex is the next theory, but it didn't go down the way Ethan thinks it went down. So he keeps asking if Cameron was in their room. He asks Harper this, and he asks Cameron this. he even envisions how it went down. We see him like looking at that area right in front of the door, envisioning those two having sex, him going in, Cameron leaving. Y'all saw it. But he doesn't entertain the idea that maybe they had sex in Cameron's room and Harper put the security lock on their door so Ethan wouldn't be able to get in the room, and she left the connecting door open so she would hear Ethan trying to get into their room, so she would know, okay, Ethan's back, now I can go back over there, and she just simply forgot to close the connecting door all the way. So that again plays off of them actually having sex. But let's see, where was I? Okay, so ultimately this arrives at the same result, Ethan killing Cameron for it. The only hang up that I have here is I don't understand how the location of them having sex would make a difference. The only reason I formulated that thought is because of the heavy emphasis Ethan put on Cameron being in their room and not even considering Harper being in Cameron's room. So like I'm kind of still like I'm not gonna say not a big fan. It's just I can't really piece together what difference it makes which room they were in. And then lastly, Cameron and Harper did not have sex. Harper set all that up to appear as if they had sex just to fuck with Ethan. She says Cameron vouched for him, so that could just be, this could all just be her idea of revenge for his wild night and putting her through all the stress after finding the open condom wrapper and not admitting to it. All this could be her form of vengeance for that. And then also Cameron comes out of his room at the same time that they leave, and he's like, hey, wait up, I forgot my book. Let's all go together. And I feel like if you just got done fucking this guy's wife, you're not gonna be like, hey, hold up so we can all walk together. Now, I kind of feel like Cameron could be that kind of guy that would do something like that, but I don't know. I just feel like even Cameron would be like, okay, I just got through fucking this guy's wife. He's here. She's trying to cover. Like, maybe I should just hang in my room a little while longer, and then I can come out and lie about where I was. But like to come out at the same time and be like, hey, wait up, let's all walk together. That doesn't feel like the actions of someone who just got done fucking somebody else's wife. But at the same time, if you're Cameron and you're somebody who, again, has this chip on his shoulder about not being, say, as smart as Ethan or making as much money as Ethan, and your way to compensate for that is to have sex with the women that he wants, like, you know, like what we heard he did in college, maybe that is what Cameron does. He's that cocky that he has sex with Harper, and then he goes, yeah, I'm going to not throw it in his face, but I'm not even going to try to hide it. I'm just going to be out here with it, and that is what it is. So, I don't know, but I just kind of feel like I still feel like Cameron wouldn't do that. But maybe Ethan goes in Cameron's room, finds a condom wrapper on the couch, and boom, it's revealed that the condom wrapper was planted there, and her being Harper, and Cameron were kind of working together to fuck with him. But that's only revealed that the condom wrapper was intentionally left there after Ethan has already lost his shit and killed Harper in a fit of rage. So that's my official theory for that one. Ethan is gonna kill Harper in a fit of rage over thinking that she fucked Cameron, but after he kills her, he's gonna find out that that was all just a setup that they were doing to fuck with him. The only problem I have with that theory is I can't piece together how or why they would work together to fuck with Ethan, especially because of the biggest problem I have with every theory that I come up with for Harper and Cameron is the hand on the knee. Like, why? Like, the hand on the knee very clearly tells me that Cameron is interested, Cameron is willing, and his whole persona that he has with Ethan is all just the front, and he's perfectly willing to fuck this guy's wife. And her constant kind of like, she didn't seem that upset about him changing clothes in front of her. She didn't seem that upset about him fucking with her when they were swimming. She didn't seem at all upset about him touching her leg. So like all of that suggests that they did have sex. It's just, it feels like that's so obvious that can't be it. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to stick with my Ethan kills Harper in a fit of rage just to find out they were fucking with him theory. But I don't know, man. I feel like all that stuff could be a red herring though, just because they're leaning so far into it, but those two having had sex. I just can't figure out how or why they work together to fuck with Ethan. So I don't know, but I'm sticking with it. Lastly, I believe this is last. Yeah, Tanya and Portia. So I laid out my Greg theory last week. For those of you who may not have seen it, essentially my idea was that Greg is affiliated with Quentin and his crew, and that he was more or less hired them to take out Tanya. Greg is the cowboy. Well, I mean, it was revealed, so I'm not even gonna spend any more time on that. So I think Quentin, his people, and Greg are a group of scammers. And wait, hold on. I think they're a group of scammers, and Greg was gonna work with them. Okay, let me start over. My notes have got me fucked up. So I'm thinking I'm leading into one thing. I'm leading into something else. So I think they're a group of scammers, and Greg was going to work over Tanya in season 1. Like, he was going to scam the money out of her. He agreed to the marriage, but then they got the prenup. So now if he gets a divorce, he don't get half. He gets whatever he came in with, right? So he essentially married her for nothing. So I think that I think he's part of this group, which, I mean, we confirmed, like, kind of like he's the cowboy that Quentin fell in love with, which we saw in the picture. So I would assume that he then went to them and was like, okay, if you guys kill her, I get all the money, which works out, and then I'll split it with you guys. So like now they all have have the opportunity to get some of this money. And also, you remember too, Jack said that Quentin doesn't really have money. He was about to sell his house, sell one of his family's houses. He's about to come into some money. So like all of this suggests that Quentin has a plan to separate Tanya from her money. And, I also said, too, in my Greg theory that Jack wasn't actually his nephew, which I think is pretty clear, and that he was solely there to distract Portia. And like I said, a lot of that got confirmed. We saw the picture of Greg and Quentin dressed as cowboys. Tanya saw it, but we don't know if she recognized him. She had done so many bags of coke that maybe she didn't even really know that was him. I mean, she held up the picture. She didn't react at all. She still let Niccolo do his thing. So I'm thinking she didn't realize that was Greg and Quentin in that picture. Or maybe she will wake up the next day, and then once she's sober again, then she'll realize it. But I still don't think I don't think she realized what was happening, and that was strictly for us, the viewers. Now, the bodies that we saw in episode 1 were at the resort, and Tanya is not currently at the resort. So for Tanya to be one of those dead bodies, she'd have to be back at the resort and gotten killed there. And it just seems pretty clear that their plan is to take her out at the palazzo. So what I'm thinking happens, and also that doesn't mean that Tanya doesn't get killed. It just means that I don't think she's one of the bodies that they find at the resort. She could get killed at the palazzo, and that could still be part of the plot. She's just not one of those bodies from the beginning. But what I do think is going to happen, I think Portia, based on her conversations with Jack, is going to put 2 and 2 together. Nothing's going to happen at the palazzo. She's going to figure this out. She's going to put Tanya on game. They're going to get the fuck out of there. They're going to get back to the resort. But then Greg's going to return, and Tanya's going to kill Greg for all of this shit that happened. So that's my official theory for the Tanya Portia storyline, is all this is going to be revealed. My theory, all of that's going to be true. But ultimately, they're just not going to be successful in killing Tanya. Tanya and Portia are going to make it back to the resort. Greg's going to return thinking that the job is done or whatever. And Tanya or Portia is going to take Greg out. So that's my theory. That's all my official theories for what I think is going to happen in the finale. Let me know what you think of my theories in the comments, and give me your theories in the comments. And we will see what ultimately happens on Sunday in the finale. And until then, peace.